Due to the following CBS School Break special, Magnum PI will not be seen today. It will be broadcast tomorrow in the regular time period.
Every part of comics and artwork is a form of communication with other people. It's not just a, here, let me direct my thoughts at you as a dictation of concept, but it's hoping to convince you of how cool you think a visual could be or a story could be. And you're trying to communicate ideas in one part storytelling and greater part just graphic impact. You're hoping to relate a sense of energy, urgency, and enthusiasm to people. That there's a lightning of spirit that comes out of superheroes that has always worked for me. That it isn't really about the practicality of what they might do, it's not the practicality about grown men punching each other in costumes. It really isn't about that. It's a visual metaphor. And that metaphor could be for a lot of things, but it's mostly just about the energy and enthusiasm that can be found in the fun of life.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back. It's time again for another episode of Oh Yeah Trek Watch. Franco, Mitch, myself. We're talking about Season 2, Episode 3. We'll always have Tom Paris. Possibly the only funny thing to come out of Episode 3 is that line.
Mm-hmm. There you go. Thanks for joining us, everybody. See you next week. It's been
Pretty
a week.
much.
I did know that. I did remember the title because of that. Because you always say, "What's the title?" Like, oh, this one I'll remember. And I did.
Well, it was, that was cute, and even
cute.
his little cameo was cute.
Was it?
Well, I wish there was more. Well, I'm just kidding, and it really bummed me out because I would have liked a little bit more dialogue from him, and in the way that at least after the initial appearance of Jonathan Frakes, like we got more dialogue and stuff, and it's I just think it's a missed opportunity, just having him say 3 or 4 things, and you don't involve him more in the plot. I know the plate spoke to Boimler, but
but they did that in a way that worked. That in a sense, I thought to myself, "Ooh, this is the cold open wasn't funny." What's the guy's name? Shaq. The guy that comes back from the dead.
Oh, the Bajoran guy.
Yeah, dirty guy. I don't remember.
So when he came back, I said to myself, "Oh my gosh, this would be an interesting story." Mm-hmm. And then about 2 seconds later, I thought to myself, "Yeah, but this is Lower Decks.
Yeah,
they'll screw it up."
Yeah.
And they did. And they did.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yep. No, it's another 1-star episode. I'm glad the character's back because I do think it's a funny character. And I'm glad that they realized, maybe we shouldn't have him dead, or maybe this was always the plan. Who the hell knows? Who the hell cares? But also, I mean, again, God, within the first 10 minutes, I paused it and tweeted today. It's like, stop yelling. Yelling is not funny by itself. You need something else going on. And as I told my buddy Sal Crivelli, who I was hoping would join us today from Comic Pop, great YouTube channel. And he's a big Trek guy too. And I'm like, it's like watching college kids do improv, and we got to be really fast and really loud.
Mm-hmm.
But that, again, you need a joke. And if you don't have a joke, it's like, all right, I'm watching kids try to work out jokes that aren't jokes.
Now, can I ask a question? When you paused it and were yelling, were you yelling at the screen, or were you putting that on social media when you were yelling? Stop yelling.
I put it on social media.
Oh no, we're coming to get you soon.
Oh no!
It's the voices again.
Well, honestly, I'm sure the fans of Lower Decks and New Trek are like, all right, I don't need to hear this guy anymore. Yeah. And they might mute me or whatever. That's fine. But Sal acknowledged it, and Crivelli, and I'm like, no, I'm glad you get it too. It's just it is. It's I mean, and again, it's that Saturday Night Live watching the monologue and you're in the audience and the need to go woo.
Mm-hmm.
Woo is not a laugh.
No.
Woo is yay, I'm here. And Mariner and Tendi were wooing each other that they were going to go on this girls trip, and so girls trip, woo, girls trip, woo, and I'm like, not funny. Sorry.
You know what? I got to tell you a horror story. I fell asleep during this episode, and I had to watch it again. And you know what the scary thing is? You can't just fast forward. You had to start it over, and it made me go through the commercials. And I swore you up and down because I said, if I have to sit through this show for another 30 minutes of my life for John's pot, I will kill him. But but thankfully, somehow I figured a way to fast forward to the bit where I fell asleep, and then I picked it up where it was. Because the thought of watching this again, just for review purposes, really, I wasn't going to do it because I couldn't stand the show. This was written. I used to write comic strips when I was in grade school to pass the time, but I was like 10 years old and 9, and we would write on those loose leaf papers and we'd pass them back and forth. And those were comics. This story reminded me of that because we would, we're kids. We don't know story plot lines and stuff. And you would write, we're going to fight the bad guy. No, the bad guy's going to be our friend. Let's all go have an ice cream. Yay. And it was just that simple childhood logic. That was the show. But the difference is I was a kid about 9 or 10 years old writing shit like that on a loose leaf notebook in Catholic school. This is a professional show with writers that get paid hundreds of thousands of dollars or whatever they get paid. But when they came up with the let's ram the shuttlecraft into the ship, I go, holy shit, what are you talking about? You're hoping that they're going to put the shields on or you're going to kill a pile of people. That stuff doesn't make sense, okay? This is like, who's writing this? This is like we paint ourselves into a corner. Let's just come up with a stupid, hey, how about if they rammed it? Oh, that's a great idea. And they go with it instead of actually going, well, no, that's stupid, throw it away. They actually went with that. And Bulmer couldn't get from a door, so he has to go through the whole Jeffrey tube around the whole thing. That's not a story. That's a 2-second gag.
Yes.
But they extended it for fucking 30 minutes. I go, this is like a bad Saturday Night Live sketch when they do a premise that's okay, that's a cute idea, but when you drag it out to a 3 or 4 or 5 minute long sketch, or God forbid a 90-minute movie that they've done sometimes for things that shouldn't have been, that's what this was like. This whole show in general, but this particular episode is about ideas that aren't even funny to begin with, and they go ahead with it, and I'm amazed the stuff that they actually animate and send to production. This was the worst of in a long time. I've given like 2 or 3 stars. Dude, this is below that Franco gives it because this was a waste of fucking time.
I couldn't find. I dislike the Orville, and I didn't think there would be a Star Trek show worse than the Orville. But this is getting there for me. They have such interesting premises. I'll give them that. Like the whole Tendi background. Tell me more about that. I want to find out about that. This officer comes back on the deck, and we don't talk about deck officers coming back. We never get to find out why. Yeah, explore that. Tell me why. There's got to be funny in there.
Yeah,
the whole thing where he's, the Klingon acid punk was just
that was
now. I'll say that the song at the end did make me laugh. So I'll give them that 10 seconds of when you actually hear this acid punk Klingon song. I'm like, all right, maybe we could have had a couple other versions of that or other songs to explore that. The same thing with, as you say, with Tendi. It's like the Orions, for the amount of years that we have spent on the Orion Syndicate being part of Trek lore, and I know that was a big part of last season's Discovery story, but there's so much to mine about the Orion Syndicate. We got a great Deep Space Nine episode out of it where O'Brien was undercover, and even though we didn't see any green-skinned Orions, we knew they were part of the syndicate and everything. We certainly got in the cage the witch scene of Pike watching Vina dance and everything, and boy, the kind of dance that you would sell your soul for, wouldn't you, Mr.
When you
Pike?
say it's with a man's soul,
that bullshit and everything. And they're pirates. We'll talk like a pirate. Yar. And it's like, okay, but like again, couldn't there have been something like a complicated heist or scheme going out with your Orions rather than them just build and fix and build and fix?
Well, she dropped that line and acknowledged what you're saying when she said to Mariner, she goes, "That's all you think of me," or something like that, like a little brief, like after all these years, that's all you whatever. It was something about like that's all you look at me as, like a green Orion thing. I was like, oh, so they know it. They know there's more to these people than that. And by these people, I mean the Orion Green people.
But even notwithstanding any of that, if you just take the story element at its base, at its basic level, the whole libido sex wooden doll thing.
Oh yeah,
and them like destroying it. The head comes off, and then they destroy it. And then the way that they're going to explain it is by ramming the shell pod into the ship. Like you couldn't just say you dropped it, like, and then tell me that just wasn't such. I really hate. I love Star Trek, and I really hate like talking so crappy about this show. But the fact that the cat doctor wants the box, like, tell me, like even I could write that.
That's a cat joke. I get it, but it's like, it's like that's all you got. All right, I guess.
Yeah. The pitch meeting must be unbelievably short on these shows. It's like, hey, I got an idea. The doctor's a cat. Cats like going in boxes. That's a show. It's like Seinfeld. It's about nothing. It's a Star Trek show about nothing.
Well, and again, Boimler not being able to get the ship to work for him, so he crawls into the Jeffries tubes.
Right.
I'm sorry. And again, I know it's a comedy. I know it's trying to be silly.
Yeah.
But there is a bit of Star Trek logic, and it's like, no, I don't buy that desperate Boimler is going to be that stupid. I
thought they were going to tie it into the fact that he's the clone from the transporter accident, and that the ship doesn't recognize him, so he's not the original Boimler. Thank you. And I said, is that going to be the whole plot of the show? Like, is that really him or the cheap copy?
Mitch,
and what do we?
Amazing.
I've been doing this. I know, but that's what I thought the show was going to be. That second the ship wasn't recognizing him, he's going to freak out like, oh my God, I thought I was the real deal, but I'm not. Are they going to treat me differently? And then you could have done a whole episode where they still accept him, even though he's not the 100% pure, like he's been damaged. Sure. Like somebody gets hurt in an accident. They're not 100% anymore. So you just got to take them as they are.
Well, now we have
it's the Val Kilmer episode.
This is an interesting thought that we will see if 10 episodes, 7 more episodes from now. I agree with you, Mitch. If I were more of a betting man, I agree with you that they're going to drop this. And
this is not a notion. They don't have this idea because this would be involving thinking. This is not happening.
But they are still referring to Rutherford having his mind wiped.
Cyborg,
yeah, and having his cyborg issues and stuff. But that's funny. Stuart Greenberg agrees and said he thought they were going to go with one option as well. Well, you guys are thinking a lot better than even I am watching the guy.
No, and then the other part, what was the other thing? The sex toy being broken. Why couldn't they just replicate it or do something? And this show is so goofy. I would see them like, we must go find the Guardian of Forever to go back in time to fix this sex doll thing. See, that would be more of a thing where they'd go back and refer to an old episode and be more involved instead of we're going to go with those. What were those guys called that stabbed Picard through the chest? The
Gnosticans. The
Gnosticans. Yeah. I was like, okay, why are they here?
That's fine. I mean, it's low hanging fruit to have the Gnosticans and playing Domjot and everything.
Yeah.
But they go
Domjot human.
Yeah. But they go for the stupid, like Johnny calls them from South Park, the member berries. Like when the Shack guy is talking about, and Randall, what's his name? I forget the guy's name, the cyborg guy.
Rutherford.
Yeah.
Rutherford, like New Jersey.
When Rutherford, and he's imagining all the different, like, what is he dreaming or something like that? He's having all the Shack guys, like, again, they're going through all the Star Trek stuff and picking little things from here and there, just like, oh, look, that's a Star Trek thing. Oh, look, that's a Star Trek thing. Just to put it in there.
Yeah.
When they were doing that sequence. And I'm like, this is just like really bad. I'm not enjoying these.
The fan service stuff people talk about, I think the reason why they brought the Bajoran guy in is because he was probably the most interesting of the characters in the first season that got whacked. And they actually said, shit, we're not in the position where we could do what we want. We better get as many fans as we can get. So if they're mad that we got rid of this guy, we better bring him back. But we don't have a way to bring him back. That's okay. We'll do like a comic book. We'll just bring him back and not really address that he's back and no one says a word. Or you could have done the whole thing. It should have been a thing with Ballmer and him, because Ballmer could have said, hey, I died, or I got split into two. How did you come back? Oh, well, I got there. There was like a zillion different stories.
Yeah, it would have been so. Yeah,
that would have been an interesting episode.
It would have been so much more funnier. Like this could play for a lot of laughs if Rutherford is the only one who recognizes and acknowledges that, hey, that guy died and now he's back. And they go through the whole season. You could have just played all this up for a further storyline, or with a lot more laughs all the way through. You could have done a search for Spock. They'll say, oh, famous people who have died, and then come back and just done like a whole like room where they, how they like a room where they have a memory of like a soldier, somebody gets killed. You have a separate room on the ship where they have people who did get killed in service, but they came back. So it's kind of like off to the side. This is in memory of the first guy, but Spock came back. Oh, okay. And this is in memory of this guy, but he came back. Jean-Luc Picard, he came back. Thank you, Wayne. Sure. Yes.
Well, and Wayne
I'll be here all week.
Wayne had another here. Okay, wait. Dante says, I agree with you, Mitch, but this show's just showing they rely on lazy writing. 100%, Dante.
Oh, yeah. No doubt about that.
Wayne asked an earlier question I want to pose to everybody. Do you guys think it's the lack of consequence for Mariner's actions that make her unlikable? Characters like Rick and Archer think they can do no wrong. Rick is in Rick and Morty, and Archer think they can do no wrong, but their actions lead to consequences for them, so we can feel for them. So what do you guys think of that thought?
I don't think there's no character arc. There's no board with like plotting her character development. It's one-offs. I wouldn't be surprised if all these are written by 10 different people that don't even talk to each other. It's a Zoom meeting.
I am glad that she's at least going to the brig for being.
Oh, thank God. Yeah, I did see that. For the first time ever, she got punished at the end. I go, this is the one that did it?
Well, no, the other time she's gotten in trouble a few times, but this is the first time we saw her in the break.
Yeah, the time that security is leading her away from her mother, and obey my rules. Yeah, I do what I want, and it's like, that's why we hate you. Thank you. And again, it's like, and once again, friendship is magic. Oh, this is great because now we know each other better, so we're friends. Shut up!
I tell you, written by a 10-year-old. A 10-year-old wrote
that. Again, this is supposed to be the adult cartoon, and it's like
no. I noticed this week, and I didn't notice this last season, but maybe it was there and I never caught it. This week's episode started off with a TV-14. This show has violence in it, and I'm like, okay, really? How violent is it? Because that's what they start The Walking Dead with. Like Parents Advisory. So
there you go.
Yeah. So, but I caught it a week or so.
She smacks that guy in the face.
They did that, but then a week or so ago they did sexual situations, and I'm like,
because they were in the shower and stuff.
Yeah, Kayla.
Oh, okay. So they're by them putting that rating on it, are they aiming this towards a child's audience? Because you don't see that. And why would you have Parent Advisory on there?
Well, because again, it's so you're saying that normally it's all ages, but now we just
I don't remember that being in the first
all I know is they've referred to this show from day one as this is the adult Trek show. Mike McMahon. Again, Mitch, do your research and you will find
I agree, but Harley Quinn is an adult show.
Right.
With the language and the situation.
Yeah. Oh, no, 100%. You're absolutely right
this is a Three Stooges pie in the face.
Well, but again, it's created by a Rick and Morty writer who's an edgy writer for Rick and Morty. I don't know. I don't know.
I don't. And I think Tom Paris was
Kenneth is with you here, Mitch. You're on point as always.
Thanks, Ken. But Tom Paris, you could have got anybody to voice that actor. And if you're going to bring these people on the show and they don't have a significant scene, what's the point of bringing the actor? Did he have to get his SAG, whatever rules? He needed to get some points to get some health benefits because he was wasted. It could have been it could have been anybody.
Yeah,
I think
part of the Star Trek fan service. It's
right, yeah. No, and I'm sure they're extending invitations to any of the former cast members to do this stuff. Two things. One, by the way, and I'd love to have Larry Young join us on a show eventually. Larry says, I don't think you can criticize or critique Lower Decks like a regular show. This whole thing is predicated on an adolescently flipping the bird to Trekkie expectations. It only works as how willing you are to buy its central conceit. And then he says, at the same time, I think this show makes Starfleet seem more real. Well, that's interesting, Larry, and I respect your opinions.
I do, but I don't agree. I don't
think he's a legitimate fan. I think he's a legitimate fan.
Well, so am I. But I know funny because I laugh at funny. This isn't funny. I can't find anybody who really thinks this is a laugh out loud show. Then that's what they've really kind of set this up to be and told everybody it was going to be. And it's not. It's just not.
It's not. No.
You know, Lucas hired Seth Green and the other fellow, I can't remember his name right now. They he went to Wesleyan. He's a Connecticut guy, actually long guy. But anyway, the Robot Chicken.
Yeah.
He hired them to do a bunch of Star Wars little bits like this, and they made it. Apparently, it's been done. I don't know, but it was shelved once Disney bought Lucasfilm. They didn't want to show it. That's why you never seen it, because once Disney got a hold of the property, they're like, we're not doing this. It was fart jokes. It was all this stuff, all that Seth MacFarlane stuff.
Prior to the Disney purchase, they did do Star Wars.
Yeah, no, they did it, but they never showed them finally because Disney was like, we don't want to do this. We don't want to.
Okay.
For whatever reasons.
Yeah.
That is kind of putting it in the face of Star Wars fans. And if they had enough common sense, they're like, we don't want to tick anybody off. I disagree with that comment there where like, this is flipping the bird to Star Trek fans or fandom. They wouldn't. You don't bite the hand that feeds you. Maybe Disney didn't do the Star Wars thing because they said you don't want to do that. You don't want to make fun of the stuff that people have invested 55 fucking years into. So now you got this cartoon. There's no way they're going to be, hey, Star Trek fans, you're a bunch of losers for watching the show. We're going to make fun of all the things you love, because that would never fly, I think, in Paramount's hallways.
I don't know if that's true, because you look at like Family Guy, you look at other properties that have taken Star Wars and kind of parodied it or made fun of it. Like, I love those Family Guy episodes. They're hysterical. This is not funny,
though. It's not a whole series like this.
No,
show
but
in general, Family Guy
did all three. They did all three movies in 3 episodes. So it's not like they haven't just been passing jokes, and they've done that as well.
No, but I'm saying Family Guy is not like set in the Star Wars universe every week for every year. This show is set in the Starfleet universe, and it's like, why would you make fun of? The whole reason why you're watching this is because it's Star Trek.
But I think they are making fun of it because, again, it's interesting. Larry says that it makes Starfleet seem more real. No, I think the actions of Mariner would not be tolerated by Starfleet. She'd be kicked out on day one, and that's why I think it annoys us old school Trek fans, because it's like, this wouldn't be. It's not funny. B, it would not be tolerated.
You know what's funny? The actor that played Tom Paris was on that great episode of Next Generation where he did the cadet maneuver, and it was
First Duty. Yes,
Carno with Zarno. I can't remember his name.
Carno. Yeah,
and somebody got killed.
Yeah,
one of the other cadets got killed, and he was thrown out of Starfleet. I mean, that whole thing, because the way he acted, and the kids that covered up for him also got in trouble.
They all got reprimanded. Yes.
My Christ, how the hell did Mariner get through Starfleet Academy? Because she's doing shit every week, like trying to destroy the ship. Please, I don't even want to get into
the argument. The argument to that could be not that I'm saying it is from my perspective, but it could be is Shatner did the Kobayashi Maru, right? And he didn't get thrown out. He gets given a captainship.
For creative thinking.
Are you saying this just because this is a woman? You know, like. I don't know.
No, this is just an annoying person, regardless of sex or alien race or whatever.
Well, that's what I'm saying. That's my argument towards that. Is like it's just not good writing. It's annoying. Yeah,
it's just crazy.
Yeah, and no, you're right. I believe that McMahon and company think making Mariner this way makes her a badass, the way Kirk is a badass and doesn't follow the rules. But again, it's so you should accept her. Because you've accepted Kirk. What are you, anti-woman? How dare you? My God. I can't believe
Who are the only people that think Mariner's cool with her actions? Her friends? Because obviously the ship doesn't.
But even they don't. That's what I'm saying. Even they don't. Tendi is like all over her. It's like, on the whole episode. So she's a female as well. And she's like, no, what you're doing is stupid and childish, basically.
Yeah.
And that's in every episode. So now I think what I'm saying is now the characters in the show are starting to look at it the same way we are. and they're starting to be annoyed by marinara sauce.
I agree with Stuart, shrill and annoying. And Larry says McMahon is doing these things because it's a cartoon. Yeah, man. No, I get it. I mean, I get it on the surface. But
that's interesting. If this was a live action show, like Friends or something, how would that even? Geez, that's something. I wonder if this would be funny if it was people.
I think the extremes that we get on Lower Decks are absolutely because it's a cartoon.
Oh yeah.
Including this is really panicky, and I got to do this, and I got to scream really loud because it's a cartoon. And it's like, we need funny.
That's I Love Lucy acting. What you're talking about, like, oh my God, Ethel, the candy machine's out of control. That. But that was in the 50s. People that know better. We're more sophisticated.
I agree with you, and again, I think, but cartoons do rely on a lot of psychics, and we've even seen it. I told you about. There's a normal conversation happening in the foreground, but in the background, crazy lunatic shit's happening, and that's classic silent movie kind of shit going on and stuff.
The Simpsons do that too, yeah, but they're good at it. Like you'll watch the main show and in the background, you're like, what the fuck is going on back there?
Like Wayne brought up on the last show, and I totally agree with him. Archer is a great show, and it's animated, but it's funny, and there's good stories on there, and I want to watch that every week. Every week comes around, and I'm like, oh, I gotta watch.
I know. I said it to you. Yeah, it's basically Animal House and Starfleet.
That's what Larry says, and I can appreciate that comparison. I like what Dante says here. According to this episode, Mariner's washed out of 4 ships and DS9. She's a crappy Starfleet officer, and she'll not be in any Trek show, except as a villain. Yep. Interesting.
I thought a background joke explained to me what Quark's.
I saw Quark's.
It's a franchise now. I didn't get what that was. They were going
again, it's member berries. It's like, look at that. That's funny.
Quark's okay. Because I'm like,
Quark is a franchise now, and he's got a bar at this pleasure planet.
In Star Trek, reality, lore, whatever. That would be what's happening. He would do that. He's become so famous because he's on DS9 and so many people pass through there. Why wouldn't he open up a franchise like Applebee's?
Absolutely.
That makes sense to me. That was funny.
And Pepe's Pizza's right next door to it.
I like what Wayne said here. Wayne has no ambition because she doesn't want to be promoted, unlike Kirk, who wanted to be a captain. No, as I keep pointing out, and especially when I rewatch the reruns, Mariner is Sergeant Bilko. Mariner is there to do as little as possible, take all the advantages of Starfleet without actually doing anything. And that's why she wants to stay in the lower decks and have all the shit jobs and everything. I get that. And that's fine. But there's something missing, because Phil Silvers was hilarious and we all rooted for him. Whereas like I continually say, Mariner is an asshole. And she continues to be an asshole. And I say that because it's a good non-sexually derogatory.
Everybody has assholes.
Because and again, I've met just as many women assholes as I have men assholes over the years. So it's almost a pleasure to go, I don't like you because you're an asshole. It's that simple. And that's funny. Larry's like, Sergeant Bilko, yes. And you're nice, Larry. I love you, John. Your shows are always Larry, I always enjoy having you on for conversations. And I look forward to our next conversation, whether we have another guy, John Price, who Larry and I are big fans of. He has a great Facebook page called Seriously Star Trek, and points out the good stuff and the bad stuff all the time.
They could be the lower deck version of me and Franco when we're not on the show anymore. You can get your buddies there. They'll fill it.
That's funny. Wayne says, Mariner's the unfunny Beetle Bailey. That's fantastic.
Yeah. I would love them on the show, because I would want to hear more of a positive spin, but the problem is I don't think I would be convinced by their arguments from what I'm seeing.
John and Larry are in our camp in terms of being classic Trek fans.
Yeah,
are frustrated by new Trek, and Ugh.
Oh, here's one for you too. So the whole thing with the plate. Now, as one who actually had one of those plates, I had a Picard plate. I don't know why. Somebody either gave it to me or what. It's broken long ago. I did it. Hey, the artwork was nice on it. I was like,
it's broken. You should do one of those. should do one of those Japanese things where they fix the pottery with the gold.
I should bring it down. I remember when we moved, it broke, and I was like, what are you going to do? But what was that meant to? You said making fun of Star Trek fandom and stuff. Was that whole shtick was like, hey, losers, look, he's got a Paris plate.
No, and it's just, again, Boimler represents us in terms of, no, I like Starfleet. I want to be in Starfleet. I love Star Trek. And I don't know. I didn't see it as an insult.
I thought it was a little knock to.
I saw it as rubber berries, and that and also the whole thing of making fun of the abbreviation for Voyager being Voy.
Yeah, that was that. Okay, I'll give him that. It's like, we call it Voy. We're on these.
So and Larry's.
But if they're making fun of Star Trek stuff, I would go Vag. I would have pronounced it Vag or something.
Vag.
Oh, here's one for you. Why don't they? Oh, that would be an episode. What if they went to like a planet like it's a big Star Trek convention? That would be a funny episode. You know what I mean? Like everybody worships them. Like they all have like little Balmer dolls and Mariner like T-shirts and all that. It's like,
well, I don't see that ever happening, but I could see them going to some sort of Starfleet's function celebrating Starfleet. It'll be interesting, and I'm glad you pointed this out, Mitch. A couple weeks from now, we're going to have Star Trek Day.
That's right.
I always celebrate on the day that the
first show.
Yeah, the first episode of the original series. Right, Mantrap? Isn't that what it was called?
55 years ago on September 8th, there'll be an all-day Trek. They did it last year, too.
Oh no. This will be like the third. I think this is like the third year they've done it.
Yeah.
But I'm glad that finally we're getting announcements of maybe start dates for some of these shows, because I can't believe they didn't do it at the Creation convention that we went to. No. But I guess technically it wasn't an official CBS Paramount function.
I saw. Did you get the big ad for Prodigy on yours? I did.
Yeah.
It said streaming this fall. Well, fall is like next week, I think, right?
Right, but it's also 3 months long, Mitch. So let's not get silly here. And literally, I believe that Prodigy will premiere as soon as Lower Decks wraps up.
Oh, okay. They're in sync, even though they're
now again. That's going to premiere on Nickelodeon, and then same time on Paramount Plus, or like the day after, or something like that.
Okay. No, I've heard simultaneously. I guess we'll find out in 2 weeks when they do Star Trek Day. I don't know.
Star Trek Day. It's like
and it's going to be a bunch of panels with Will Wheaton and LeVar Burton's daughter.
Will Wheaton.
Exactly. And Dante's dreading it.
Yeah.
As Wayne points out, Mitch, it's fall until December 20th. I don't know how to break it to you.
Hey, man, not in Australia, buddy.
Spicy pepperoni or something.
Don't get technical with me. You're a doctor, not a meteorologist.
Kenneth says, I'm very excited to check out the new 4K UHD remasters of Star Trek 1 through 4 on September 7th. Hopefully the new transfers are amazing. And Stuart suggests they could do a cool episode with a cargo cult where primitive aliens worship Starfleet. Sure.
Yeah, God knows that Kirk and everybody influenced enough freaking planets when they weren't supposed to. That
go back to the Omega planet with the Constitution and
Or remember the
Combs now love the Starfleet.
No, the gangster episode. Remember that one when they were all gangsters? Imagine if you go back and they're all Starfleet, but they're all wearing the 60s outfits and stuff, and they get the mini skirts.
Well, and in fact, that would be funny. McCoy left the tricorder behind.
Yeah, he did. He goes, I left another one. Yeah. See?
Bones, they could be asking for a piece of our action.
Yeah. So you go back and it's all based on, Shatner bad hair pieces and stuff. Why don't we get a check? Call this Mike, whatever the jackass's name that does that Lower Decks. We got it. So far, I've given 3 story ideas tonight. That's at least worth a friggin' Lexus in my driveway, right?
No, that's good. There was I think it was when DC had the Star Trek license. I know they had an issue where Bella Oxmick, the guy in charge of the Iosha planet, as a gangster, comes back and testifies on Kirk's behalf.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That was a Vic Tayback, right? Was that the other guy? Was that Vic Tayback?
No, it's the other guy. It's Frank DeKilva,
Sheldon,
who was in charge of the Hakawis on F Troop.
Oh yeah, is his name Sheldon something?
No, it's Frank DeKova.
Frank DeKova. Who am I thinking of? Who was the guy that was the loud gangster type? Sheldon something. It was like,
oh,
what are you talking?
Sheldon,
That's the guy. Yeah.
Totally different actor.
He's
he became a TV mogul during the 60s and would only occasionally act. He made I Spy. He was behind
That's the same guy? That was the actor? Oh no shit. I didn't know. He had the big cigar. Yeah.
Because he started writing radio scripts while he was playing a gangster in the 40s and 50s. And then when TV happened, he hooked up with Danny Thomas, produced his show for 11 seasons, produced Dick Van Dyke, produced Gomer Pyle, Andy Griffith.
Wow.
I Spy. Oh, no, and made millions. I mean, he was a mogul when he died.
Damn.
Oh, yeah. So that's hilarious. Larry's like, you hit Krakow hit Steppo.
Yeah.
Very true.
It's like The Sopranos with phases,
Well, and it's as Dante says, I'd rather they made a new season to the classic Trek show in the same art style than what we get with Lower Decks. Well, like I said last week, I'm like, I would rather watch the Titan cartoon than what we're getting, frankly.
Oh, yeah, with Riker, yeah.
Yeah. Well, again, because, what was happening on the Titan was much more interesting than the bullshit that they're giving us from Lower Decks every week. So, yeah, man, it's as all – and again, I'm so sorry that we're so negative every week. I really right, and truly, I've even gotten to appreciate last week's episode a little bit more with them being in the collector's room rather than what we've gotten.
And then it went right back to ground zero again today. It was like, oh, we're right back, one step up, two steps back. There you go.
And D. Norton says IDW did a return to Sigma Iosha. I'm not surprised.
Oh, okay.
That's the Gangster Planet.
Yeah.
Stuart Greenberg. Oh my God, Riker was awesome. Yeah, I love the way they portray Riker. And for the little we got of Paris, I thought it was funny. I liked when, as much as I hated what set up Boimler dropping into the bridge, but I love that Paris is like, oh my God, a Kazon, and started prodding him.
Now, this is how we punch in the Delta Quadrant, and he goes and punches him. I was like, all right. A Kazon. Oh, because he had the crap all over him.
Dante says, I want to love all the new Trek shows, but it feels like they're thumbing their nose to the audience. I would say they're just trying too hard to where their politics are ahead of their story.
Mm-hmm.
And in Lower Decks, it's less of that, but there is still a slight bit because Tendi is, hey, you're profiling me as an Orion. How dare you? And
yeah.
Give it up. Okay.
Well, no. Do you think there's a bit of ageism going on here? And again, I don't know how old everybody is in the writer room on Lower Decks, but I bet you no one's over 40.
Well, that's television in general, man.
Well, I'm just saying, and here we are, all in our late 40s, like John.
Hey.
I'll admit it. I'm about to be late. 50.
I'm as old as Star Trek, 55.
Yeah, so, there you go. And I got 57 coming up in December.
Yeah, but no, I'm thinking that too, because some of the jokes, I mean, we just kind of roll our eyes when I hear like, yes, of course we're profiling you because you're an Orion. I'm just like, get on with the fucking story, will you? I got no time for your goddamn, bubblegum politics today. Yeah. I'm watching a fucking show about people in outer space 300 years from now, and you're going to tell me they're still concerned about the same shit that we fucking deal with every day on this goddamn planet, when Star Trek's all supposed to be about acceptance of who you are, no matter what you are, or whatever. And that's what the whole edict thing was 55 fucking years ago. And there is no wars because people are a different color or whatever. But yet we're still going back to that.
I would argue against that because in original Star Trek, they had their fair share of politics, even though it was, kind of under the radar and disguise of the story.
No, not the Enterprise crew. The planets they encountered had like the black and white guy. But the crew was perfect. I mean, Starfleet was a perfect example of human evolvement. How good things are going to be when we get to that point someday, where you had multinational people working together, holding hands, if you will. And nobody wrote letters saying, how dare you get racist or something like that. You know what I'm saying? It gets a little... It's not supposed to be that way. You shouldn't even have a scene like that where Mariner's being scolded because she's alien profiling. I don't know if that's even the term I don't know.
If you go back to Star Trek 6, The Undiscovered Country, the woman that takes over from her father for leading the Klingons is like inalienable rights.
Yes.
the very word is racist or whatever. So no, they've had their touches with xenophobia, but again, as you say, Mitch, you're right. It's always from the non-Starfleet people.
No, because even Kirk
right.
changed it when he did his famous opening at the end of Star Trek 6 when he goes, "Where no man, where no one has gone before," and that was the whole like. Even Kirk had that little bit of racist, alienist, whatever the hell you want to call it, towards the Klingons, and he went beyond it. So,
well, yeah, but he learned.
And that was set in the past.
Kenneth.
But I think that's just the thing, Johnny. You said that he learned. Marinara doesn't seem to learn. She seems to like get it at the end of each episode, like, oh, everybody's going to leave and they get better jobs and stuff like that. They move on, and then I'm alone again. But then, but you're right back to being a jerk the next episode.
She's a one-trick pony, and no offense to the horses out there watching the show. So,
well, I agree with Kenneth, by the way. Yes, the DC comics that they've done were amazing. In fact, I should put in the feed my Michael Jan Friedman conversations, because Michael wrote a lot of the Star Trek comics for DC. He also wrote many very good Star Trek novels and wrote an episode of Voyager. So that would certainly fit.
I like that guy.
Yeah, and I agree. The Star Trek Waypoint series was an anthology that would just, pick an era of Trek and do a story. And they did great stories of every era. And I hope they bring Waypoint back, because it was a wonderful book. Dante says, I'm 44. I grew up watching the reruns on
WPAX.
Yep. These shows feel like nobody in any of these writing rooms actually ever watched any of the classic Trek or Next Gen, Voyager, DS9, or Enterprise. They're picking member berries to try and appease classic Trek fans, but the writing feels to miss the point constantly, constantly, not just on Lower Decks, but Disco too, 100%, man.
Yep.
And I would say Picard as well.
Well, Picard, I thought better of the three, Picard, but yeah.
Right. Well,
that's because of Patrick Stewart.
Yeah, and I started getting more granular with Picard. Okay, I forget even what the original actor that played Ichip said that suddenly got him in hot water, but he did say something. Oh, I think he was sympathetic to Kevin Spacey because he had met Kevin Spacey or whatever, and was like giving him the benefit of the doubt and saying, Anthony Rapp, you really weren't raped. And it's like, that's loaded shit. Well, it's one thing to get rid of the actor, but they even closed the door on Icheb as opposed to just recasting, like we did with Robin Curtis being Savick instead of Kirstie Alley. They killed Icheb. And it's like, they didn't need to kill Icheb in Picard.
When did all this happen with Kevin Spacey? Was this when he was cast or before the episode? I don't know what you're talking about.
No. Okay. So post Voyager.
Okay.
And all the Kevin Spacey hot water shit happened.
Yeah.
Anthony Rapp is the guy who said, hey, Kevin Spacey raped me.
Yeah.
Manu, and I forget his last name, the actor who played Icheb, stepped up and said, look, I don't see this as rape. And forgive me if I'm paraphrasing and getting it wrong, everybody, but he came out publicly and said, I'm sympathetic to Kevin Spacey. Kevin Spacey's a good guy, whatever. Well, that's a third rail. I mean, everyone pretty much feels like Kevin Spacey. I mean, Anthony Rapp was only like 14 or 15.
Right.
He had a sexual encounter with Spacey.
So, but if that's the case, why were they? Was it the same actor that was on Picard?
No. And this is what I'm saying, Mitch. Manu, the original Voyager actor, made these comments.
Yeah.
Everyone shit on him for that, and all of a sudden, we don't want him showing up at Star Trek events anymore.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And so then Picard comes out. So they bring Icheb back as a character to kill him. And I'm like, why are you killing the character? Fine. It's years in the future.
Right.
Recast Icheb, who I think is an interesting and worthwhile, much like Q. Q, rather. I didn't want them to kill off Q either. And instead they brought Icheb back just to show that incredibly intense torture scene.
Right.
Kill him.
Yeah.
And it's like,
you really think that has to do with behind the scenes political stuff?
I think it's not only
really, not just story wise.
Yes, I do. Because this, and I might be wrong.
Well, no, because I didn't know any of this till you just said it. I thought they did it because they needed to get something that would evoke Seven of Nine to go on like a rampage to get revenge. That's why they killed it, because that was like her son in a weird way, not because of what's going on off screen with this actor. I didn't know anything about that. So,
as you've rewritten better ideas, why would I think it would have been better to have Seven against the Romulans, and knowing that they were harvesting the Borg implants and torturing these people,
right?
In general, without it having to be specifically Egypt. But that's me.
Well,
I could be wrong, but I believe that not only did they want to stamp out Manu, but they're like, let's close the door on Egypt as well. And it's like, okay, whatever.
Didn't know.
Wayne says Mariner doesn't care about anybody except herself. Yes. DC Star Trek, great comics. I agree. Kenneth says, to me, the true Star Trek is the TV series, TOS, TNG, Deep Space Nine, Voyager, and Enterprise, plus the first 10 films. New Trek has some of the worst writing he's ever seen. I agree. Yeah, I'm burping. Forgive me.
That's why people
so there you go. I mean,
the reality of the show.
Well, I'm letting people know why I'm like pausing. If you're only listening to this,
we thought you were doing dramatic effect. Because you had pizza for lunch. That's what it was.
That's right. I'm getting the White Clam pizzas coming up.
Oh yeah, Langley's back. Yeah.
Yay. Under better circumstances. You've joined us. I told Franco we had lunch today without you, John. We get together.
Good.
And we talk about you. It's true.
I'm sorry.
We said, do you think the lower decks people get together and do a podcast where they just criticize us? So, did you see John? He burped on the show. I can't believe it. And what the fuck is up with Mitch's hair today? I don't know. And Franco, he's just writing and looking down at his iPhone or something.
I'm trying.
Scoot's like Johnny Burger that gets mad at me for chewing crackers. Yeah, because my burps are silent, Scoot, as opposed to the home remodeling you're doing when we podcast. So
I like Scoot. Leave him alone.
Big difference. Larry says the Kurtzman show suffer quality wise because they hire Weesum writers.
Awesome writers. And then
Kurtzman
awesome writers, and then Kurtzman rewrites them into stupidity.
I thought Weesum was like a new type of group or something. I'm like, oh Jesus, I missed the bulletin this week. What's that now? I gotta not offend the Weesums.
Yeah, that's like a woke phrase that the Weesum. We all believe. I don't know, but no, you're right.
I like that, the Weesums, and like the Weebles. They wobble, but they don't.
We're gonna call ourselves like that.
Weesum. Those are people that support Will Wheaton. Those are the Weesums.
I have not watched any of his After Trek.
I haven't. No, it comes up after the episode. Like, you want to keep watching? I go, God, no, and I hit you skip right away. But I don't want to watch that shit.
Mine went to the last episode of Discovery instead.
Really?
Yeah, which was weird for me. But I do want to seek out the Ready Room because I'm always interested in his unbiased love.
You talk about somebody who's making fun of Star Trek fandom. Every time I see that kid, I think he's got the whole like, oh, you fucking suckers. And he just seems like he's just tongue-in-cheek the entire time, So
I like Will Wheaton. I think he's pretty genuine.
You're going down, Larry Young. We're going to start a campaign on their line because you fucked with our Weesums, man. Weesum forever. Weesum. We have our own gang sign too.
And Dante's saying I'm right to not watch After Trek because he wants to make himself deaf listening to that bearded
putz. That's a podcast title or a band.
And Canada apparently doesn't get After Trek. Well, I know they post them on YouTube, Wayne.
Well, he's in Canada. They don't get a lot of things.
Unless they block, because I know that certain movies get blocked regionally.
It might be a COVID rule, too. They don't want to get people sick up there. So. They've suffered enough, for Christ's sakes. They eat back bacon.
I do think we have to, rather than being the Wheaton lovers or haters, I kind of like the Weesums to be like the woke people that love New Trek. We're the Weesums. Well, we think it's great.
Oh, God. Why are we going to go down there? We only have so many fans, John. Why piss off the 3 people that watch us?
I don't know, man.
Weesums. Actually, no. Whoever that fellow that listens to the show Actually, he's a John Suntress fan. I had the good fortune of meeting him last week in Concord, New Hampshire. When I was looking over some Spider-Man books, I hear, "Hey, that's Mitch from Trek Watch," which I never thought I'd ever hear those words in my life. And I looked over and I said, "What did you say?" And he goes, I recognized your voice. I'm like, "Oh, God." And he goes, I watch everything John Suntress related. I've been a fan of his for years. Wanted to come down to Terrificon, but unfortunately couldn't make it this year. Wanted to know if there's a line to meet you and if it's easy to get access to you. I go, Christ, if you went to the right stall on Sunday, you could have handed him some toilet paper.
True, you could have found me in the men's room in agony.
I recognize that guy having the shits installed too.
When I actually have something to sell, I'll grab a table at cons.
Yeah.
And really, Mitch is always like, "Hey, if you need a table or whatever," and that's really nice. But I'm wandering, and really the place would be when I'm moderating the panels, and thankfully, there's always at least 2 to 3 panels a day.
I keep you busy.
Find me, at those things. So
right.
Please, but and truly everybody. That's
incredible. You know what? We should have done a Trek panel. I now I'm thinking about it. Why the hell didn't we? We had David Gerald there, the Tribbles guy, and the I Mud. He wrote that one too. And he did an animated. He did the More Tribbles, More. You could have had a great conversation.
We should have done
what do you think of the new Trek cartoons?
We should have done the panel with those guys on one side of the table,
and us on the other. The Weesoms versus
the Weesoms criticizing everything that they say.
Right. And who else was at the show? Maybe somebody else was on Trek. I kind of think who was.
But we would have been on their side. We would have been on David Gerald's side because we love all those things.
Right. But just for the sake of argument,
Yeah.
And also, I'd make him retell all those amazing stories he does on that documentary that Shatner narrates, Chaos on the Bridge, which if you have never seen it, I think it ran on Epix, but you can get it on YouTube.
Yeah.
And they'll make you sit through commercials, but it's so worth watching. And it's all about the first 3 seasons of Next Generation. And that's Chaos on the Bridge.
Oh, that's right.
Wasn't
he was part of the writer's room, right? Wasn't he, Gerald? And they got let go or fired or quit or whatever?
Yep, or they quit. But yeah, Maurice Hurley was the original showrunner. And God, DC Fontana.
No, that would have been a great topic. Oh shit, we got to get him on the show. I'll give you his contact. You never interviewed him so far.
No, I would love to talk to him.
Yeah. Do that. Jeez, I didn't realize that he was on the first couple seasons. You're right. Did he write that casino one where they get stuck in the revolving casino?
Royale? I love that episode. Everyone hates that episode. I love that episode.
I thought that might have been David Gerald.
It's so goofy, but it's great. And that's funny. Larry wants us to have Weesum shirts now. That's hilarious.
Yeah, we are the Weesoms.
We could own it and we could be the Weesoms that we hate Star Trek.
No, and what does it mean? It means we
hate new Star Trek.
We some people hate new Star Trek. That's what it's an abbreviation for. We some.
We some, exactly.
We some of that.
There you go, Larry. You've coined a phenomenon
by
Larry
accident.
Young, the man who gave us the words rock and roll. Fantastic. Too funny. Yeah. And I'm trying to think of what else news wise. Again, Star Trek Day in like 2 weeks, so we'll learn more.
That's the 8th. What day?
Yeah,
is that?
a week from Tuesday.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So
just under 2 weeks, and I guess we'll find out more. And I promise I will sit through the pain of those panels.
Yeah, I really have my hopes really pinned for Strange New Worlds. I do.
We all do. Yeah.
That's February of next year, or they haven't said yet?
They haven't had a start date yet. I know they're done filming. Larry asked if we've talked about the Tarantino Trek. We haven't past episodes, but it's becoming more and more of something that we'll never see.
No,
Larry, unless there's news that it's still being developed. I thought it's not being developed.
I do. I follow Doug Jones as does Mitch on social media, and he posted a picture the other day and said that Disco 4 wrapped.
He did
for the season. So we're filming. So
he's supposed to be here next year,
unless COVID messed things up. We were supposed to get the new season of Disco before the end of the year.
Yeah,
but I have no.
We may, but I'd bet more towards the beginning of next year than.
I agree.
Yeah.
10 weeks of Lower Decks. We're on week 3, so there's 2 more months, and then you say Prodigy. which I'm assuming is 10 episodes.
I would assume.
And then they'll go into so we are figuring about what, October-ish. Yeah, it'll be like January before they wrap it up. So
well, and again, it's a kids show. It would be nice if we got more than one show running. That at least an adult show, because Prodigy is definitely supposed to be a kids show. So, Dante asks if there's any new word on Section 31. Well, 31, not 32.
Doug Jones is in his 60s? Is he really? I didn't know.
That's what Larry says. Wow. I believe
it.
Well, and it's Section 31, not Section 33, Dante. But that said, all I heard was, and again, I would hope that we'll get some sort of word on it on Star Trek Day, that it's still going ahead. And all they've been waiting for beyond COVID is Michelle Yeoh's schedule, because she's, I guess, doing other movies and stuff.
She's in Shang-Chi next week, too.
There you go. So,
Shang-Chi.
Yeah, I know. It's so funny because we're all, Shang-Chi.
No, you know what? No, listen. I'm talking to Starlin 2 weeks ago, Jim Starlin. He's on the phone. I was helping him get his flights to California because we had to do some first class flight credit thing that I had from the show. But I said, what are you doing? He's like, I'm going out to California for the premiere of Shang-Chi. And I said, oh, you mean Shang-Chi? And he goes, what's that? I said, that's what they call it. He goes, what? And he's the guy that was in the room with Englehart that created the character. So I'm thinking, if he doesn't call it that, then why am I calling it Shang? I didn't know.
I'm so with you. And I grew up thinking it was Ra's al Ghul.
It's Ray's, I heard.
And when the movie, it was Raish. It's Raish al Ghul.
Well, I asked Danny O'Neill, and he said Raj al Ghul, and I said Danny O'Neill because
that's the way. I think that's just the way Liam Neeson talks.
That could be
Raish.
It's like Marlon Brando saying Krypton.
We love that. We love that on the Yes shows. We love Krypton.
Krypton.
Larry's right. Of course, Anson Mount looks like he's in a Star Trek production. Exactly. Again. Amidst all that bullshit that they were giving us, thank God there was at least one character who it's like, how you doing? I'm you might have heard of me. I'm Christopher Pike. I've been in Starfleet for a really long time. And it's like, thank God. We're not crazy. So
no, go back for a second. I'm just thinking of two before you wrap this up. So Janeway is on Prodigy.
Right.
Tom Paris, this was his first appearance post Voyager. I don't know about video games and all that stuff.
No, you're right.
He's there. Tuvok has been in
everything.
What? No, but he's been Tuvok on some other Star Trek show. I could have swore. Was he on the Lower Decks?
He made his fan film Renegades.
No. But wasn't he on the Titans crew?
He in the books. Tuvok is
on, but not the actor. Okay, because that would have been a great place to drop him last week.
Other than the cartoon, they haven't shown the Titan crew at all.
Oh, and then who else is left? You got Kim. Neelix needs to show up for Christ's sakes.
Ooh, no, he's still in the Delta Quadrant.
Oh, they left him there with.
Because before they went through the Borg conduit that brought them back to the Alpha.
Oh yeah.
In the last episode, they're Seven and Neelix are talking to each other. But another reveal that I don't think we've discussed, but I know was a recent news story. Chakotay is also going to be in Prodigy.
Well, they mentioned his name on Lower Decks. They go, "Oh, get your plate. Did you get your Chakotay plate signed or something?"
Yeah. But I'm saying that like Beltran is coming back.
Oh, okay.
In some capacity on Prodigy. We don't know if he is going to be physically represented or he is another hologram with the Janeway hologram. We don't know.
And Picardo's been on. He was in the movie. That was
Picard has a whole new series.
No. I'm talking about Robert Picardo, the doctor.
I know.
Has he been in anything?
No. He's messing with you. What does Dante say?
Don't toy with me, man.
Even though a lot I've hated, I like Anson Mountain in Humans. His Pike is the only shining light for me in this current batch of Trek shows. I hope Picard Season 2 is better with Mark Bernardin being in the writer's room. I agree. But he is one voice, and we'll see what happens. By the way, everybody, it's on YouTube. And now, God damn it, I'm going to blank on who the guys are, what their channel is. Give me 1 second while I look it up, but I'll describe it.
Are they recent?
These two guys do amazing Theory kind of looks at the podcast. God damn it. All right, good. I'm glad I found it. All right, so everybody look for the podcast on YouTube, and they have a theory of how Picard season 2 is going to go. And the video is titled "The Trial Never Ends," like what Q said in the last episode of Next Gen.
Yeah,
and it is a fantastic theory of maybe this is how things will unfold. And they did the same thing before the first season of Picard, and their version of the story was infinitely better than what we got in the actual series. It's 20 minutes long. It's a lot of video of existing Trek footage, both from Picard and from classic Next Generation stuff. And it is so well made and then narrated very well. I can't recommend it enough. The Popcast, everybody.
P-O-P?
P-O-P. Okay. And they're I'll confess I haven't really watched their live shows where they're debating amongst themselves, but these produced things are so good.
It's got to be better than ours.
Do they swear? Do they swear a lot on theirs?
Well, here, and truly, like Langley says, I've seen that podcast video. It's great. And so I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah, but don't you think if they come out and say the whole Picard season 1 and whatever has been Q just testing Picard and he's really sitting in a old folks home, just this has all been imaginary, don't you think that's like the only Bobby way doing in the shower cop out type of thing?
I was going to say the only way that works is if they get Bobby Ewing, the actor, and Victoria Principal to be like Klingons or something.
Yeah. No, you know how it works? Picard's in the shower and he opens the door and there's Q standing
Patrick
there.
Duffy.
And it's like it's all been a dream. And then I'd be like, fine, you got my money.
Q shapeshifts it to Patrick Duffy or Victoria Principal.
Somehow they bring back Suzanne Plachette and she wakes up in bed next to Picard.
Bob Duke.
I had a terrible dream. I was working in a vineyard.
Counselor Troy was wearing sweaters. Yeah,
I do think that it's a 50-50 shot that Q will turn android Picard back into a human.
I hope so.
I don't know, but all right. Langley says I could see that as a joke from Q in the first episode, and if they pull a Dallas, I know tons of people would be pissed.
No, at this point, I think people are like, who cares?
We'll see. It's I mean, again, we'll see next year whenever Picard comes out. I won't deny that I am interested into and hoping that they do a good story. And certainly, and again, watching that podcast, it's like it made me more excited about the prospects of season 2.
We were all interested in Picard with the trailers, John. It just
but watch this podcast thing. I really, actually, guys, I would like you guys to watch it because I'd love to talk about it more on the show, because some of the theories that they put out there while we're waiting for the show to happen are very interesting. And they really are like, well, if history changed, how much history? I mean, we've got 7 without the Borg implant, so that's not much of a spoiler in terms of, okay, what happened? Does that mean that the Enterprise D never made it to that section of space where the Borg were? So was there, therefore, did the events of first contact with the Borg time traveling not happen? Are they aware of Earth? Are they concerned about Earth, given that we haven't shown up? Either the Enterprise didn't show up. I mean, that's why, if they really, really want to do that, it could be forgive the comic book example, Superman for the Man Who Has Everything story, where, okay, Krypton didn't explode.
Yeah.
And Picard is clearly back in Starfleet because of this time problem and stuff. And on the surface, wow, this is what you wanted, Picard. You're a respected admiral. They're listening to you. And you're still a respected figure in Starfleet. Be careful what you wish for, because it might mean several other things never happen.
Didn't they do that with the Nexus and First Contact? That wasn't the whole story idea that you live in your own little world?
Jumping on you, but you're remembering wrong.
No, remember that you got to live in your perfect place.
You're saying as far as Picard and Merry Christmas, you got a family and everything. Yeah. That's Picard. Podcast is saying this could literally be massive changes in the Starfleet and Star Trek canon to introduce this storyline in Picard. Not just, hey, look, John Luke, you have a family.
The only way I would accept that
on the macro. You know,
the only way I would accept that is if we get a redo on Disco and Lower Decks. Like they have to start over from the beginning again. That's the only way I would.
We get to go back. We get to watch them all over. Wouldn't it be something to watch it?
Q, are you saying that with my actions that Michael Burnham has never been born? Let's do that.
Don't you see? It's not the sun.
To me, Q.
It's not the sun up in the sky. It's the Son of God. Mm-hmm. Don't you get it? Remember that? I always love that. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? Jesus Christ. Literally, Jesus Christ.
Yes, exactly.
That was the Star Trek. That was the only Star Trek Christmas episode ever.
You can see what Wayne says. We need Cybok.
We do.
And I've said you want to put your money on the table, everybody. New Trek, make Cybok matter.
Yep.
I want a flashback scene of Spock, Burnham, and Cybok at the dinner table having a family discussion with Sarek and Amanda. That's what I want.
That's the part that bothers me. They never bring up Cybok in anything, since they brought in Michael Burnham. And if you're going to go back and do revisionist history on Spock, did you take Cybok out? Why are you not even talking about him? Wasn't he a sibling as well?
Yeah,
I don't know.
He's the Chuck Cunningham of Vulcan.
No. And that's and truly that's where you
had a basketball and disappeared.
Went upstairs and you never saw him again. Yeah. Like, what happened to Chuck?
No, but you're right, man, because really with the three of them there, they could have a very interesting discussion about humanity and the Vulcan philosophy, and Cybok being like
my theory on this season of Disco is Cybok shows up.
Cybok shows up when the Cybok hits the fan.
Well, but he was wrestling with that fake god at the end of 5.
Yeah.
Assuming God.
Maybe he won.
And?
Right. No, you're right.
Didn't you interview him? I thought you said you interviewed Look and Bill.
I did.
Yeah.
The end of the year was fantastic. The Weesoms want Cybok.
That's right. That's now we're the Worsoms. He just changed the spelling of it.
We're worse than that.
Look how fast that happened. That's the all right version of it. You don't want to go there. That's the bad Worsoms. They like Star Trek, but it's a different Star Trek.
Kid says Cybok went back with his mom, the alien princess.
That's right.
That's
right. He was married to an alien princess. That fucking Sarek got around.
Exactly, man. Sarek, a horn dog. Who the hell knew?
Damn right. It's the reason why he didn't shave his eyebrows.
Let me check out Amanda for a second. She used to be married to Robert Young. Come on.
Oh, that's right. Jane Wyman.
Jane Wyman. Yeah. That is awesome that in Star Trek 4, that God bless her, Grandma Jane Wyman shows up and is Amanda again. It was like, oh, that's great. Spock, what's wrong? How do you feel? I'll tell you how I feel. New fucking Trek sucks. That's how I feel. Langley, final comment? Because Mitch, I feel bad. I know you got a show coming up, don't you?
Yeah, I do at 5:30, but it's okay.
Well, using Cybok would mean using actual Trek canon and using it to create interesting stories instead of just making up crap because you don't want to do research.
I have to review Jurassic Park movies at 5:30, which I mean, going from this to that, it's just like, why do I even get out of bed in the morning? I don't know. My wife's like, "Oh, you have to go to work now." I'm like, "Yeah." Like, I have a real job. I'm like, hey, shut up.
Honestly, I went through that when I was in the hospital. My sister's like, "Yeah, your little puppet show or whatever," and then I'm like, "Do you know how many followers I have? Do you know how much like people are supporting me on Facebook?"
Yeah, but Hitler had a lot of followers too, John. You got to be careful with that shit.
That's true.
You know how many followers I have? If I had a podcast in Nazi Germany,
I got to pay taxes on Word Balloon. I mean, that's why I'm like, guess what? This is more than just me.
Actually, you become a religion.
Clouds.
You have a religion. You have followers. The cult of Weesoms. You don't need to pay taxes anymore.
Weesoms, that's right.
You are a nonprofit.
That's totally true.
You're a Christian organization.
Oh, that's funny. Stuart's theory on season 2, Wesley and the Traveler kick Q's ass. Very nice. I'll say.
Yeah, whatever happened to the Traveler? That dude with the bad nose job.
I just
those fingers too.
I feel he sees colors.
It was either on MeTV doing their Star Trek 6 Days a Week, or it was BBC America. I just rewatched the episode with where Beverly's in the bubble, and the Traveler comes back and helps Wesley get her out of the bubble. I like that one. So Jane Wyatt, damn straight, Dean Norton, you're right about that.
I want you to do a show about famous Trek lines, like dialogue that will never be said or uttered on any other program, like Beverly Crusher talking to Troy saying, "Do your breasts feel firmer?" I always remember that line from what was that? Insurrection. I was like, wow, this is science fiction at its best. It would have been funny if Riker said the line. That would have been better. It's like, well, yeah, they do. I feel like I've eaten 3 pizzas today.
He was busy making pizza, so he couldn't.
Right. Yeah. Hey, listen, I got an oven here. We can
exactly
while we're on the run, we can fire up some pizzas.
Hey, do they feel like firmer dough balls or?
Oh, we're getting canceled now.
Okay.
Listen to those dirty men talking about
come after us. Hey,
fat man breasts. That's what they're joking about. No one's going to defend that. I don't want to see anybody let a writing campaign say, "Hey, as one who represents the men of the bros ears."
Why do you think the camera just misses my man?
The Weesoms went too far on this episode. The Weesoms went too far.
Oh God, that's hilarious! Looks like that.
The boob line. Yeah, that made me insane. Well, yeah, it's a boob thing.
All right, there we go.
We're going to end on the boobs. That's always a good way to end.
Crystals, clearly. We have to go to the planet with Saru's guy that screamed and ruined the burn and everything, and get
Come
more.
Back next week.
Oh God, I forgot about that. It's so funny when you recall that, and I'm like, oh God, that shitty story. Oh yeah, the Red Angel's coming.
Yeah, exactly. Good Lord. All right, good stuff. Well done. Much better than the show. Half-hour show. We talked about it for an hour.
I know. I was thinking that coming back today. Like, we're going to talk an hour and a half on a 28-minute show.
As always, everybody, really appreciate you watching. Come back and join us next week. In the meantime, stay safe, stay happy, and stay healthy.